Hi everyone, I'm Siddharth Shankar Sahu, MBA first year student, and today us we have our special guest, Ma'am Rajita Kulkarni. She is a president of Shishya University and she has been a former Citibank leader. So, ma'am, how is it if we start with the rapid fire now? Sure. I'll hit the questions. Leadership in one word: empathy, integrity, or adaptability. Adaptability. Spirituality or strategy, which is a true compass for a modern CEO. Strategy based on spirituality. The must have MBA skill, data literacy or emotional intelligence. Both. Emotion backed by data. Social change or profitability. Can a leader truly prioritize both equally? Yes. In the era of AI, is it a threat to jobs or an enhancement of human potential? Enhancement of human potential. Entrepreneurship. Is this a born talent or a taught discipline? Taught discipline. Everyone can learn to be an entrepreneur. Sustainability. A corporate buzzword or a non negotiable metric? It's a non-negotiable metric, and in Sri University, it is in our DNA. It's a way of life for us. The India 2030 vision. Will our MBAs lead through innovations or through values? I think they are not mutually exclusive. You need innovation which is rooted in values. If it is not rooted in values, it can become unethical also. So it is innovation rooted in values. So, ma'am, we will be coming to a bit deeper questions now. As we know, you are a former leader of Citibank. So, what qualities makes a good leader in today's world? I'm a leader now also. I think each one of us is a leader. The concept of leadership needs to be understand well. In your family, suppose you are five people and you are deciding which restaurant to go to eat, and you have a younger brother who is able to convince everybody to go to the restaurant of his choice. Is he a leader? He is a leader. He is a leader because he's able to lead all of you to his vision of where he wants to go, right? So leadership is the ability to galvanize a group of people to a vision, a big vision, and towards that. So leadership is not just by a position. You don't become a leader just because you get a position of a vice president or a general manager or director or any of that. That position just gives you some authority. In fact, there is a concept of formal and informal authority. So with position, you get authority to do some things. But change happens by influence. And influence comes from informal authority. In fact, if you look at the life of Pujya Gurudev Sri Sri Ravi Shankar Ji, he's not the president of any country or the prime minister of any country, but he's able to go from country to country and bring about such a huge social change, social impact. He was able to resolve the decades old FARC conflict in South America. In India, 500-year-old Ram Janmabhoomi conflict situation. He was part of the mediation team and played such a critical role. So that didn't happen because of a position. It happened because of his ability to make an impact, influence. So leadership, what I would like all of you to understand is that you don't have to wait to get a position to lead. You can lead when you are, where you are, in the circumstances you are in. For the reason, for it can be small thing to a big thing, but the ability to lead is important. And then at different times, it manifests in different ways. So suppose you are president of an organization, then the scope is of a certain kind. But suppose you are the head of a student club, then the scope is of a certain kind. But the skills required are almost similar. So that is something that if we imbibe that, I think it will help a lot. Wonderful answer. Just following up to it, how can spirituality improve leadership
and decision making in business?
There are hundreds of ways in which it can improve. See, today, as those of us in leadership positions have responsibility of leading with values, leading ethically, leading in a transparent manner, leading in an inclusive manner, all of these aspects are inherent qualities of our spirit. And what is spirituality? Spirituality is that which uplifts our spirit, which makes our spirit blossom, isn't it?
Yes.
So when your spirit is blossomed, all these qualities of being inclusive, being empathetic, being truthful, being ethical, being compassionate, having a sense of caring, having a sense of connectedness, all of this come naturally. And when they come naturally, your effort or your actions as a leader become that much more impactful, and your influence becomes that much more positive. See, if you look at someone like Nelson Mandela, he was in the jail. From the jail, he led a whole freedom movement. So many freedom fighters of India, when they were imprisoned through the jail, they led, Quit India movement, Satyagraha, so many things. So the ability to lead comes from that deep rooted, that ability to lead effectively, sustainably, with this inspiration, you know, comes from, I think, having the base of spirituality. That is my experience. That's what I've seen. That's what I have learned. Like, again, I want to give Gurudev's example. I mean, whether it is meeting a president of a country or meeting some, going to a very small village and meeting local farmers there, both of it is equally at ease, isn't it? Everybody feels equally, a small child feels at ease to be with him, to reach him. At the same time, such big leaders also come to him asking for advice, and he's able to, because people feel that space of purity, that space of truthfulness again. And that is a hallmark. See, today the world is becoming such a, I mean, almost a crazy place, right? What all is happening in the world. So to be with a person whom you can trust, you feel, हाँ ये ठीक बोल रहे हैं, ये मैं trust कर सकती हूँ. Itself is such a big thing. And the ability to trust comes from the trustworthiness of the person. And that trustworthiness comes from his or her, spirit. And that's what spirituality enhances and blossoms in us.
I would like to add something. The first time I met Gurudev, he had such warm presence. He just made me feel I'm a part of his family.
Wow.
That's the, as I mentioned, the hallmark of a leadership.
Very nice.
And ma'am, you recently attended the AI Impact Summit 2026.
Yes.
From your perspective, how will artificial intelligence transform the way future managers make decisions and lead organizations ahead?
Actually, don't you agree that it's already transforming?
Yes.
Even all of you as students, I'm sure you are using Claude, Gemini, ChatGPT to enhance your work. And, see, so many decades ago, when the calculator was not there, when people started using the calculator, everybody thought, oh my God, with the calculator, we will lose our ability to add and subtract. Then, when the internet came, we thought, अरे बाप रे, internet आ गया, अभी हमारा क्या होगा? But if you look at each of these through the journey of the evolution of technology, it has only improved the way we live, isn't it? So AI, I am very confident, will definitely enhance our life. What we need to learn as human beings, as professionals, is how we can effectively use AI to integrate it in our life, to make our life better, to make it more productive, to make it more optimum and effective. And that is up to us. Definitely, AI will I think take away some jobs. It already is, but it will replace it with other types of jobs. And that will, I think that is the transition we need to make. That what is it that is needed in the years to come, and how is it that we can prepare ourselves for that? That is important. So for all of you students also, as you are, you are in the first year of MBA, you will complete next year after the second year. When you enter the corporate field, either as a professional or if you start your own business, I would say every day from today till the time you graduate, you should, before going to bed every night, ask yourself, what new did I learn about AI today? What new did I learn with AI today? And number three, what new did I learn which can get integrated well with AI for my future? If every day you go to bed answering these three questions, I think over a period of 2, 3 months, you will become champions in AI because every day you will learn something about it. Every day you will learn something with it. You do some experimentation with the different AI tools. वैसे ही तो सीखेंगे. And then you will feel confident, not overwhelmed with AI. I think today what I experienced in the AI summit, firstly, it was massive. I mean, my full congratulations to the government of India. It was like a Mahakumbh of AI, including the taxi driver to the porter on the airport. Everybody saying, oh, AI summit ke liye, ma'am, AI summit ke liye. Everybody knows what is AI today, right? Which I don't think even a week before that, everybody knew. Of course, those we all know, but like at a completely grassroots level. Secondly, to bring people from 100 countries of the world together. It's not a mean task. So it was a massive effort. It got everybody thinking, it got everybody activated, it got everybody to participate. I myself was on 3 panels and I was part of the core working group for the human capital vertical. So they had 7 themes for the conference, for the summit. One of the themes was human capital, and I was part of the core group in India for that. It was fab, the effort that is going on in our country. And I think that has really activated everybody's thinking. But I think many people feel overwhelmed. कि हमारा क्या होगा? I think it's not needed to feel overwhelmed if we take the systematic approach. So all of your friends who are watching this, I would say 3 months for 3 months. You to start with. I would say permanently till you pass out, but 3 months to start with. Take a target that every night I will write down these three things. What new I learned with AI, what new I learned about AI, and about AI to be integrated in my field. So marketing, if you're going to specialize in marketing for that, then or for finance, whichever it is. I think it will make you experts.
As they say, for in the age of AI, for every 100 jobs lost, additional 170 jobs would be created.
See, there you go. There you go. Only the type of jobs will change.
So we just need to be more aware and be better prepared for the opportunities coming out.
Exactly.
Thank you. At last, I am extremely proud to say our university is the first in the nation to make the DSN course compulsory. I did it personally. We completed it. Our entire batch completed it 2 months ago, and I can assure it was extremely eye-opening for us. We experienced emotions we couldn't. It's like we had a block on it. We were not able to go that deeper into our emotions. So, ma'am, I would like you to ask, what was the intention of the management behind making it compulsory, and what message would you like to give to the normal audience? Why should they try it once?
You only answered it, all that you experienced.
Those are mine personal. I loved it absolutely.
So, what is the full form of DSN? The full form is Dynamism for Self and Nation, right? So, we have a repository of qualities in us. We have a huge bounty of talents in us. Only what happens is that we self restrict because of our own doubts, our own self limiting beliefs, or our own, fears or anxieties. And sadhana, or doing self reflection, doing some breathing techniques, some great curated yoga, all of this helps in unveiling all that. तो जब वो निकल आता है तो जो अंदर का अच्छा अच्छा है वो बाहर निकल आता है. And that creates a space of you realize, my God, I had all these abilities. I didn't even know. And then you become dynamic. And when you become dynamic for yourself, you cannot but not be contributing to your community, your surroundings, and therefore your nation. So, don't you think it is important for each of us to unleash our full potential?
Absolutely.
And with that unleashing our full potential, also build a strong society, a strong community, a strong nation. Yes,
Yes, sir.
that is why we did it. We organized it for you.
Ma'am, what management skills should today's MBA students focus on becoming impactful leaders?
So this management skill and leaders are two separate things. Okay. So if we say about becoming leaders, I always do this exercise with people I coach. Okay. So let me ask you, I'll do that with you.
Yes.
So give me 5 qualities you think some leader you admire has.
They have a mission statement, they have
Okay.
a vision,
Vision,
um, they carry a responsibility for their
responsible.
team,
Okay.
they make that, they're very consistent with their implementation,
Okay,
and
consistency.
they're extremely disciplined.
Discipline.
They avoid instant gratification.
Okay, the list can go on,
Yes, sir.
right? So, when you think of people you admire as leaders and you make a list of such qualities, you realize all these qualities are what you can call personal qualities, right? You didn't say that they should be MBA from this place, or they should have two PhDs, or they should have written 10 papers. You didn't say that. You talked about all these qualities. So, that is the biggest thing for us to remember as we prepare ourselves for leadership roles. That, yes, our technical knowledge that we have, you are studying MBA, you must have, what is your undergrad education?
BTech Computer Science.
BTech Computer Science. So you have an engineering MBA combination. Someone else might have a commerce MBA combination. You have, this education is very important. It's very vital. It gives you the ability to therefore do the job. But you can't stop there. You have to nurture and develop these skills. The skill to be consistent, the skill to be disciplined, the skill to be inclusive, the skill to have a vision. This, when you nurture in yourself, then you can be a great leader. And how can you learn this? That is why when we do programs like the Art of Living program, you do every day you practice Sudarshan Kriya. What is it doing to you? When you do Sudarshan Kriya or and meditation, what it does, it calms your mind. It activates your alpha, beta, theta, gamma, all waves, right? It gets you into a flow state. That's what gets you into a flow state. Flow state is what? A state of relaxed alertness, which means like when Roger Federer hits that perfect six, perfect ace, sorry, or Virat hits his perfect six. It's a flow state. You almost think that बहुत ही आसान है, but it's not because it's a perfect flow state. That is when your system is working at its most optimum and is so aligned. Body, mind, spirit, totally aligned. That is what spirituality teaches you. And when it teaches you, ये सारा normally आ जाता है. You become adaptable. You become flexible. You become agile. You're able to take everybody along. So that is what we are teaching here in Shish University also, right? In your classroom, you're learning the subject matter. You're becoming domain experts. But through all the service projects you're doing, through the programs you're doing, through the responsibilities you have in campus, you're nurturing all these qualities, which are your personal skills. So professional skills and personal, both essential.
Great. Ma'am, now, a very important question. What advice would you give to young professionals who want to lead an organization that create a social change?
It's a very important question because if we don't think about our community and the society around us, there is only so much we can succeed.
Mm.
When we started building the university, I want to tell you an incident. when we first came to see this land. It was all a barren land. There was nothing here. And, we were all in a state of shock that how can we even build anything here? And I remember Gurudev saying that time that, our university will be built. It will be really grand, glorious. It will achieve great heights. But before we start that, we have to strengthen the community. So, the first thing we did here was started skill training. We had a partnership with Larsen and Toubro. We started the skill training program, where young boys would come from neighboring villages, from other parts of Odisha, some few other states also. They stayed on campus for 3 months. They would learn construction skills, bar bending, masonry, all those, and then they would get jobs on the Larsen and Toubro construction sites. The second thing we did, we started tailoring programs for all the communities around. So we had 5 or 6 tailoring institutes where girls used to come to study tailoring. And after they did that 2 month program, the cottage industry does subcontracting of tailoring work. So they would start getting those jobs and earn 5, 7, 10, 8,000 rupees like that. Then we built community halls. We built homes for people around because this is a cyclone prone area. So a lot of people had, keep losing. If they have not pakka homes, they lose. Then we had a partnership with Schneider where we gave rooftop solar panels where at least with one panel, full day getting solar charge, one bulb can light in the house. These were some villages which have never had electricity. So before we even began, we did this for the society, for our, neighbors, our community. And by that, they became like part of us, right? They were our friends. Then whatever we did here, it is for with all of us together. So having that intent that I should make a difference to society is the biggest thing. So and the society and my community belongs to me. I am part of it. See, today there are chemical factories जिनका वेस्ट जाता है नदी में जाता है फिर आसपास का विलेज वही नदी में नहाते हैं वही पानी पीते हैं It is so unethical, right? But if I have the sensitivity कि oh ये this belongs to me, I am responsible for that, then you will not do these things. So that is why Gurudev says for ethical leadership he has given 5 C's. First is a sense of connection. See, if you are my brother, I will not hopefully steal from you, right? Sometimes, unfortunately, ये भी होता है आजकल, but normally, isn't it? I say, नहीं मेरा भाई है, इससे मैं चोरी नहीं की. Because I feel a sense of connection. So if I can increase that circle of connection, then this is also connected. This is also mine. That is also mine. That is also, which is what Gurudev has done. Whole world he feels connected to. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, right? तो इधर प्रॉब्लम है तो भी सॉल्व करना है कहीं और है वो भी सॉल्व करना है सो फर्स्ट इज कनेक्शन सेकंड इज अ सेंस ऑफ कॉन्टेक्स्ट सी हम अनएथिकल क्यों होते हैं क्योंकि हमको लगता है कि फास्ट फास्ट पैसे बनाओ फास्ट फास्ट करो एक बार वी वर इन द यूरोपियन पार्लियामेंट इन ब्रसेल्स एंड गुरुदेव आस्क्ड एवरीबॉडी हाउ लॉन्ग आर यू गोइंग टू लिव 20 years, they were full of members of parliament, some presidents, prime ministers. He said, how long you're going to live? 20 years more, 30 years more, 40 years more, 50 years more? Okay. After that, what? So how much money you will collect? And what will you do? Once you go, where will it go? So just that context, that, oh, of my life, how short it is in the whole spectrum of things can really open your mind. Oh my God, why are we doing this? So context. Third is a sense of caring and sharing. That's, when you meditate and your mind calms down, when you finish your meditation, you open your eyes, you feel that sense of connection automatically. अच्छा लगता है. Then you want to care also. You feel, let me do something. That feeling comes. Yeah. Then is compassion. A sense of compassion for yourself and for those around you. And lastly, not in a particular order, but courage. Courage to stand up, courage to stand against. Like when we are building this university, we did it ethically. We didn't pay any bribes. We stood on our values. Was it easy? Absolutely not. Did we have problems, challenges? So many of them. Did we have difficulties? So many of them. But we said, no, this is our value. So courage. So if these five aspects we pay, if they stay alive in us, then we'll be ethical and our leadership will have a positive social impact. That is my personal experience.
Ma'am, can I ask you a personal question?
Sure.
We came to know that when you were in leadership positions at a bank, you used to wear a sari. And we also see you in campus, you still continue it. So, how do you feel carrying your culture in foreign lands?
Oh, I feel great. I wear sari everywhere. I've worn sari in countries like Norway, other parts of Scandinavia when it is minus 10, 15. In Korea, once in December, it was minus. Of course, I mean, I wear proper winter jackets and all on top of it. In the European Parliament, in the United Nations, in the World Bank, wherever I go for anything, anywhere in the world, I love to wear our sari. It is how we carry our culture. In fact, if you see so many of my official photos, they're only men in black and blue and grey, and I'm in a pink or a purple.
Standing out,
I
overshadowing
love
them
it.
all.
There are times when I have walked in the European Parliament and people have stopped and said, "What is this costume you're wearing?" and stopped and taken photos. But I think it is important that we take pride in our roots and our culture, where we come from. See, if we don't honor the roots, the tree will never grow. Correct? So we have to be. We have to. I want to honor my roots where I belong to, and at the same time embrace the world because we are global citizens of the world. So for me, both is important, and I throughout my life I have I think done my best to embrace and embody both.
Thank you, ma'am, so much for your valuable time. It was great meeting you. Jai Gurudev.
Jai Gurudev, thank you, and it was fantastic questions you asked. So very well done. I really enjoyed this conversation. Thank you. Thank you.